Hi, and welcome to number 27 Talbot Street, second cook at home. Today we're going to be doing pan-seared scallops with cauliflower puree, Alsace bacon, and red wine vinaigrette. So we'll start with the cauliflower puree. Taking about 150 to 200 grams of cauliflower florets. I've removed them from the stalk. I'm going to slice these nice and thinly. You need to be too meticulous. But the finer you slice, the quicker the cauliflower cooks, obviously. Okay, now we're going to take about 100 grams of unsalted butter. A bit of oil in our pot, same amount of heat. We'll get the oil in there, and then the butter, and let that start to melt. Nice and slowly, because we don't want any colour, because we want the cauliflower puree to be as white as possible. Okay, while we're waiting on that melting, take one shallot, and again, finely slice. One clove of garlic, crush, remove the skin, and again, chop. Take a little bit of bay. This is fresh bay from the garden. You can use dried bay if you prefer. Fresh bay is always much more vibrant in flavour. Give it a rub to release all those lovely aromas. And then we'll place this into our butter. Allow the shallot and the garlic to start to soften and render out all those flavours. And then we add our cauliflower. Season with a good pinch of finely ground sea salt and freshly ground pepper. We're going to let that simmer a nice low heat for about 10 minutes until the cauliflower is nice and soft. If you need to add more butter, don't be afraid to do so. It starts to catch. Okay, now we're going to prepare the Alsace bacon, which you can get from any good delicatessen. It's French smoked cured bacon. A really almost kipperish smell off it. Really smoky flavour. Fantastic to use. If you can't get a hold of that though, any good smoked bacon from your supermarket or local butcher will be fine. So we slice it nice and thinly. We're going to take the slices and cut them into lardons. So we want these to be nice and crisp so that we have different textures on the plate, and that'll work really well alongside the scallops. Take a pan, it'll do a good heat, a little bit of oil. There's a slight smoke coming off the pan now, so that's about ready. We'll get our bacon in there. So we'll render off all the fat and crisp it all up. God, I wish you could smell this, it's amazing. Don't worry about all the oil, we're going to drain all that off. Keep it moving so it doesn't catch, and we get a nice even golden colour. There you go. Take that off the heat. Place that into a colander. Drain off all the excess oil. And there we go. Some nice crispy golden bacon. We'll leave that to the side until we're ready to present. Now we're going to finish our cauliflower puree. As you can see, simmering away. Cauliflower starting to tenderize. At this stage, we have about 20 to 30 milliliters of double cream, just to enrich it even more. Bring that back to a simmer, and we're ready to pass. Okay, so first of all, remove our bay leaf. Transfer the cauliflower into a pot. I'm using a stick blender. You have something a little bit more discreet at home, or you can use a Magimix if you wish. I'm going to blitz this up. Once you have it blitzed, you may want to take it slightly further than I have. I'm going to pass it through a sieve. The finer the sieve, the better. This allows for a finer, silkier texture, which is what we're looking for here. I'm using a fine chinois, but again, a fine sieve will do just fine if that's all you have. Okay, so now we're going to force the cauliflower through the sieve. You can use a spoon or a ladle. Okay, once we have it passed, we can stir, and there's a lovely buttery creamy cauliflower puree. So now, the scallops. It's the last part of the dish. The key here again, a nice hot pan. These are local Irish scallops. You can get these from your fishmonger or any supermarket. They're king scallops, which means the larger variety. And make sure they haven't been soaked in water, because then you get this terrible gelatinous consistency. You want it nice and firm and nice and white and creamy like that. Get our pan up to heat. So the idea with cooking scallops is to get colour and not to cook them too much. So we want a nice golden brown consistency, or colour on the outside, and we want a nice firm fleshy consistency in the middle. So once the pan's up to heat, transfer the scallops onto a tray. I'm going to season them again. Finely ground sea salt. Using some finely ground white pepper this time. We grind this in a mortar and pestle, or using a spice blender if you have one. And then into our pan. That lovely sizzle. The key here is to make sure your pan is exactly the right heat. Not too hot, not too cold. The scallops get lovely colour and cook through. Okay, now one by one, gently flip the scallops and turn the heat right down. Take some more of our unsalted butter, about 20 grams or so. And we're going to add the juice of half a lemon. Just squeeze that in there. I'm using all that wonderful liquor and baste the scallops. Keep coating them in the butter. Give them a nice glaze and shine. This should still be quite firm to the touch. So these have been in the pan now for about 2.5 to 3 minutes. 1.5 minutes either side. It obviously depends on the size of your scallop. The larger the scallop, the longer it takes to cook. So I'm ready. I'm going to take these out. Go. I'm going to allow these to rest. Okay, so now for the dressing. Very, very simple. I'm going to use some red wine jus, which is basically a red wine sauce, using shallots, thyme and garlic. Sweat it off. Then we add some red wine, about 200 to 300 mils, reduced to almost dry. And a little bit of beef stock. Bring that back up to a simmer. Then we finish that with some red currant jelly. And then here, I've brought past all the onions, thyme and garlic back out. So we're left with this lovely syrupy sauce. Taking some standard vinaigrette. I'm going to split it to give it a lovely sharpness, which is going to work perfectly well with the scallops. Now time to dress our plate. So first we take our cauliflower puree. Nice dollops. Sweep that down the plate, and then for our scallops. Some Alsace bacon. Some crisp and smoky. Taking some extra virgin olive oil. This is some pea shoots or a filet cress. You can use any kind of salad you wish, watercress, endive, would all work perfectly well. And lastly our dressing. And then we have probably one of the most popular starters in number 27. Pan-seared scallops, cauliflower puree, Alsace bacon, red wine vinaigrette.